Spreadsheets are a vital tool for every data analyst to understand. We are starting our Spreadsheet Fundamentals series by looking at how to tidy messy text data today on Art Science. Hey there, I'm Kevin Hartman, Associate Professor at the University of Notre Dame, founder of the Art+Science Analytics Institute, where our mission is to make you a better analyst. In our 5-video Spreadsheet Fundamentals series, we'll cover the basic functions that you should really understand as a data analyst. Today, we'll talk about a number of functions that help you tidy messy text data. We'll get into if statements. We'll look at concatenate, left, mid, right functions. We'll look at lookup functions as well as some basic data visualization inside of spreadsheets. The functions that we'll cover today are the primary ones that analysts can use to clean messy text data. They include unique, trim, lower, the find and replace function inside of a spreadsheet, and then finally a bonus function that you'll want to stick around for at the end. For this video, as well as all the others in the series, we've created a step-by-step guide to help you follow along with the work that we're doing, as well as practice when this video is over and really feel like you're mastering these functions. One last note before we get to that first function. I'm going to be demoing everything in Google Sheets instead of Excel. The functionality, the commands that we'll be using, they're exactly the same. So learning it in Google Sheets allows you to use it in Excel as well. Google Sheets is a little more user-friendly and the online version is much better. So that's what we're using for these demos. Let's get to that first function. The first function is a unique function. This function returns a distinct list of values from a range of data, eliminating any duplicates. So I've got my transaction log here, and now this is for a school that offers both online and in-person courses, or a blend of both of them. So what I have is a customer ID, which is a unique ID for each customer. I've got an order ID, which is the unique ID for that order that they place. I've got my date in month, day, and year, 3 different columns. I don't really like that, but maybe we'll fix that in a future video. I've got spend, which is the amount of money they spent on that course. And then I've got this class type where text has been entered as to what kind of class that is. Now that's something that I'm going to want to standardize around certain 3 categories. I know that, again, this place offers online, it offers live courses, and it offers a blend of both to its customers. So what I need to do now is figure out what are all the different values that have been entered into that class type value variable. This is where unique comes in. So this unique function will go through all that text and return to me the list of different unique values that it finds in that column. So I simply am navigating to this first cell under column K. The command is, I trigger it by entering an equal sign, and then it's as easy as just typing unique. It'll pop up. I can choose that if I want, but I'm just going to complete through with my value. And then I'm going to select the entire column, including the label at the top. That's for me to know what that label is. So here I go, select the entire column, and then just hit enter to execute the command. And what it returns for me are a list of the unique values found inside of that column of text. So I've got live plus online, I've got online class, I've got both, which doesn't appear unique. If I click into this and click into the one above, I see, oh, that's the dreaded trailing space that is the bane of data analysts. Why? Because you can't see it with the naked eye. But using the unique function, it has picked up the fact that sometimes both was entered with a trailing space. So something I can fix a little later. I also have these other inputs like live class, same as live probably, just typed a little different. I've got online with a lowercase o and online with an uppercase O, and then finally an online and live, which is probably the same as live and online. So I've got a number of different unique values that I don't really want in this list of text. So I'm going to have to find a way through some of the additional features that we'll talk about to standardize those. But what unique does is it pulls all those out for me, so now I know they exist. The second function is a trim function. This function removes any leading or trailing spaces as well as any extra spaces between text. So trim is a really important function to know when you have things like trailing spaces or leading spaces or those input errors that we want to clean up. I already know by doing the unique command on the list of data that I've got this both here with a trailing space. So I want to get rid of that. Simply coming over to the column next to the class type column, I'm going to enter in a new column header, call it class underscore type underscore trim, and then I'm going to use the trim command, which again I initiate with the equal sign trim, and then just choose the text column in the cell next to it, close parentheses and enter. And now it's going to ask if I want to autofill, which I will. Alternatively, I could have just copied and pasted that command all the way through, but by doing that and hitting yes, now what I want to do is go back and use that unique function again. So I'm going to type equals unique. This time I'm going to choose the class type trim column, hit enter, and I see that one is missing, and that's the both. So it took the both that had the trailing space. Now it's consolidated that down just to a label of both, remove that trailing space just as I wanted it to. Again, using the unique function there helps me check those fixes as I'm doing them incrementally. So now I've got rid of the spaces, but I still have a number of different values that I don't want. I got to work now to start to standardize those. The third function is the lower function. This function converts all text to lowercase. So I have a number of different values inside of this list still, and one of the things that I've got are a mix of different cases. Sometimes words are capitalized, sometimes they're not. So I just want to get it all standardized to the same case in my text. I'm going to use lower, just make it all lowercase. So I'm going to create another column here. I'm going to call this class underscore type underscore lower, and then use the lower command, which is just lower. Choose the cell next to me. That's it. Hit the autofill. What it's done now is all of that text that it found in the cell, it just took them all down to lowercase, removed any capital letters that it found. I can check this again by going unique, equals unique. Choose that whole column of lower, and you can see now that it has removed the online capital, has consolidated that down to single, under all in lowercase, online. All the other capital letters have been removed as well. So I've standardized the case, but I still have unwanted values in this column. Now I'm going to use the final feature that we're talking about to correct those. The fourth function is find and replace. This function looks for specific values that you've asked it to find and then replaces that value with a new one that you've specified. So I've removed any spaces that I didn't want. I've standardized my text case all to lowercase, but I still have these unwanted values that in my class type variable that I just don't want. I want to consolidate them down to a simple 3. I just want live, online, or both, but I've got other variations on those categories. So I can use the find and replace function built into the spreadsheet to take care of that here. Simple to do, but the first thing that I need to complete is converting the formulas that I have in this class type lower column to actual values. You see, if I type into this first cell in the column of class underscore type underscore lower, I've got a formula there. It's not actually the text live. This is a formula that is producing that. So finding, replacing, and replacing through those formulas wouldn't do anything for me. So there's a really easy step that I have to take first, which is just selecting this entire line of text, going under the edit, saying copy, moving over to the next column where I'm going to place the values, edit, paste special, and then values only. So now you can see the text is the same, but what's in the cell is actually different. Now there's a value of live where before I had a formula. So now that these are values, I can do find and replace. I'm going to highlight the entire column of text. I'm going to go under the edit, find and replace function. And now what I can start to do is just pick off one by one these unwanted values and change them, convert them through the find and replace to the values that I want. So let's start with, we like live, the first one I see there. I don't like live plus online. I want to convert that to both. I want to make sure that this is a specific range. This functionality will either allow you to replace it through the entire spreadsheet, through all the sheets in the file, or just a specific range that you've highlighted. I want to limit my find and replace to that specific range. I'm going to go ahead and say match case. Even though I've already standardized, it doesn't matter. This is just a way to make sure that it's only finding lowercase live, lowercase online, right? Instead of some other variations. I'm also going to say match the entire cell contents, which if I had something that said live plus online plus something else in that cell, it would just replace the live and online piece. What I'm asking it to do here is just find every cell that has live plus online and only live plus online in that cell and replace it. So now when I hit replace all, it went through, it found 244 instances of live plus online. It converted them to both. If I look over here now and do another unique function on this final column, you can see the live and online is gone. Now I've got a both. I still have a couple more that I need to take care of, but I've done pretty well here. So highlighting this column again, let's see, we like the live, we like the both. We don't like the online class. We want to change that to from online class to online. Again, finding the entire content. So it's going to find online class and change that. I hit find and replace. 229 instances found there. And you can see I just got one fewer values as it got rid of the online class. Let's see. Online I like. Live class I don't like. I'm going to change that to live, doing the same functionality. Find and replace. There it goes. 324 of them gone. And you can see that my list is down to 4. I've got one left. The last one is this online and live. I don't like that. I want to call this both as well. Specific range, match case, match entire cell contents, find and replace. Boom. 226 of them gone. And I can close this now because I can see that all I have in this final column are the 3 categories that I want, the 3 values for that variable. So I am done now with the standardization. Before we get to that 5th function, take a moment, subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, like this video, forward it on to others that are interested in data analytics. Every week we are bringing new and exciting topics in the data analytics field to YouTube. We'd love to have you here for that journey. The 5th function is data validation. Data validation restricts the values that a user can input into a cell, ensuring consistency and accuracy of manually input data. Now, the data validation feature is a really important one in spreadsheets. It's how we as data analysts, when we do have manual data input, we limit that input to certain categories from a predefined list. And it's a really simple thing to do, but one that can save you a lot of headache and challenge like we saw before. So here we are back with our original transaction log. I've got class type and I've got a whole variety of different inputs. The way I could have fixed this was using the data validation, and I'm simply going to type in a new column header. I'm going to call this class underscore type, just call it input. And what I want to do in this first cell is set the categories that you can choose from as the inputter. So I'm using under data and I'm going to the data validation. What that does is pops open a side panel for me here, and I'm going to select the add rule. Inside of this cell now, it's given me 2 default options. I'm going to change option 1 to, let's call this live. Let's call option 2 online. Then I have to add another, since there's 3 categories, 3 values that I want to users to be able to choose from. This one I'm going to call both. And that's it. Done. Now, inside of this cell, if you click the drop down, I can only choose from one of these 3. I could choose live. I could choose online. I could choose both. If I wanted to input something that wasn't there, say online class, it's going to give me an error, right? So this is how we prevent any kind of misspellings, different values input into that category. So I'm going to say, okay, all I need to do now, let me take this, clear this out, so that we're just starting from the value. It's just copy and paste this formula all the way down. And now from each of these inputs, you can see there are only 3 values that I can choose from. Doing this up front in your spreadsheet when you know that you've got manual input is the way to save yourself all sorts of headaches and later on that having to go through and clean up that data because of errors that will occur whenever humans input data. Thanks for watching. We hope you have a better understanding of how to clean up messy text data using spreadsheets. Look for the next video in this series where we'll get into the power and the versatility of if statements. Thanks for watching again. We'll see you in the next video.